If you visited Jake's apartment for the first time, you'd probably think he had life figured out. A luxury high-rise, floor-to-ceiling windows, designer furniture, a 75-inch television mounted perfectly on the wall, the newest iPhone resting beside a sleek laptop, a luxury SUV parked downstairs with a fresh coat of wax. Everything about his life looked successful. Now imagine walking into Michael's apartment. The building was older. The furniture didn't match. His dining table had a few scratches. His car had over 120,000 miles on it. There wasn't anything that would make people stop and say, "Wow." If you met these two men on the same day, you'd probably assume Jake earned a lot more money. Almost everyone would. But you'd be wrong. Jake and Michael worked for the same engineering company. They held the same position, received the same bonuses, and every other Friday, the exact same paycheck landed in both of their bank accounts. So how could two people earning the same salary end up living lifestyles that looked completely different? The answer has very little to do with income. It has everything to do with what they believed money was supposed to do. Because there's a difference between building a lifestyle that impresses people and building one that actually makes you happy. Most people don't discover that difference until it's too late. Jake believed success should be visible. Growing up, he'd watched social media fill with beautiful homes, expensive vacations, designer clothes, and luxury cars. To him, that was success. If your life didn't look successful, were you really succeeding? So, every raise became permission to upgrade something. A better apartment, a newer car, nicer clothes, premium subscriptions, weekend brunches, more vacations. Nothing outrageous, nothing irresponsible on its own. Just slightly better versions of everything. After all, he worked hard. Why shouldn't his lifestyle reflect that? Michael thought about money differently. To him, money wasn't a scoreboard. It was a tool. Its job wasn't to impress strangers. Its job was to make everyday life less stressful. So when he received his first raise, he didn't move into a bigger apartment. He stayed exactly where he was. Instead, he reduced his working hours by saying no to unnecessary overtime. He joined a local hiking club, started cooking more meals at home with friends, bought secondhand camping equipment. He even learned to play the guitar he'd found at a garage sale for $40. Jake couldn't understand it. "You make good money," he once told Michael. "Why do you still live like a college student?" Michael laughed. "I don't. I live like someone who wants options." At first, Jake thought Michael simply lacked ambition. But years have a funny way of revealing which beliefs actually work. 3 years passed. Jake's apartment became even more impressive. Every room looked like it belonged in a home design magazine. Friends loved coming over. His Instagram looked incredible. Vacations to Miami, weekend trips to Las Vegas, luxury hotels, rooftop restaurants. Every photo looked like proof that he was living his best life. But photos only capture moments. They don't capture what happens after the camera is put away. They don't show Jake checking his banking app before ordering dessert. They don't show him calculating whether another weekend trip would fit on his credit card. They don't show the quiet anxiety that arrived every Sunday night, because maintaining an expensive lifestyle can quietly become a full-time job. Meanwhile, Michael's social media was almost boring. Photos from hiking trails, backyard barbecues, road trips to national parks, game nights with friends. His vacations rarely involved luxury resorts, but they almost always ended with the same feeling. He came home rested, not financially exhausted. Researchers who study happiness have noticed something fascinating. After our basic needs are met, more expensive lifestyles don't automatically create more happiness. What matters far more is how much control people feel over their lives. The freedom to say no, the freedom to take time off, the freedom to handle emergencies without panic, the freedom to choose. And without realizing it, Jake and Michael were slowly investing in completely different kinds of lives. Jake invested in appearances. Michael invested in peace of mind. Neither investment showed immediate results, but life has a way of revealing what really matters, especially when things don't go according to plan. Life doesn't ask whether you're ready. It simply arrives. One autumn morning, both Jake and Michael received the same phone call. Their company was restructuring. Departments were being merged. Some positions would disappear. Nobody knew who would stay. For the first time in years, both men faced the same uncertainty. Jake smiled during the meeting. Inside, he was terrified. Not because he thought he couldn't find another job, because he couldn't afford to be without one. His rent was high. His car payment was fixed. His credit cards needed their monthly payments. His subscriptions renewed automatically. His lifestyle had quietly become something he had to protect. That night, Jake couldn't sleep. He opened his banking app 3 different times, then his credit card balances, then his calendar. He started calculating. How long could I survive without a paycheck? The answer frightened him. Less than 2 months. Michael attended the exact same meeting. He was concerned too. Anyone would be. But concern is very different from panic. He had savings. No expensive monthly commitments. A modest apartment. A paid-off car. If finding another job took a few months, his life wouldn't immediately fall apart. That's when the biggest difference between their lifestyles became visible. Not during the good times. During the uncertain ones. Because the true cost of a lifestyle isn't measured when everything is going well. It's measured when life stops cooperating. Researchers have found something interesting about happiness. People often assume bigger homes, luxury cars, and expensive possessions create lasting satisfaction. But those feelings fade surprisingly fast. Psychologists call this hedonic adaptation. We get used to almost everything. The new car eventually feels like just a car. The luxury apartment becomes just home. The excitement of the newest phone lasts only until another model is released. We quickly adapt to what we own. Then we start wanting something bigger, something newer, something better. It's a cycle with no finish line. Jake had been running that race for years without realizing it. Every upgrade gave him a temporary feeling of success. Then it became normal. Then it wasn't enough anymore. Michael experienced adaptation too, but instead of upgrading his possessions, he upgraded his freedom. Each raise made his emergency fund larger, his investments stronger, his stress smaller, his weekends longer, his choices greater. Nobody noticed these upgrades because freedom doesn't photograph very well. A luxury watch gets attention. A fully funded emergency account doesn't. A brand new SUV turns heads. A paid-off car doesn't. A designer kitchen impresses visitors. The ability to sleep peacefully at night impresses almost no one. Yet one of those creates a better life. The other simply creates a better image. Months later, the restructuring ended. Both Jake and Michael kept their jobs. Jake celebrated by booking a luxury vacation. It was stressful, he said. I deserve this. Michael celebrated differently. He took a week off, loaded camping gear into his old SUV, drove into the mountains with friends. No luxury hotels, no expensive restaurants, no social media posts, just quiet mornings, campfires, long conversations, fresh air. When they returned to work, something interesting happened. Jake asked Michael, "Don't you ever wish you had more?" Michael smiled. "I do. I just realized a long time ago that more isn't always something you can buy." Jake looked confused. Michael continued, "When I was younger, I thought a better lifestyle meant owning better things. Now I think a better lifestyle means needing fewer things to enjoy my life." That sentence stayed with Jake for weeks because deep down, he knew it was true. His apartment was beautiful, but he barely had time to enjoy it. His luxury SUV was comfortable, but it mostly sat in traffic. His expensive vacations were exciting, but he spent months paying for them after coming home. Everything looked successful. Very little actually felt peaceful. So Jake slowly began changing. Not overnight. Real change almost never happens that way. He moved into a smaller apartment when his lease ended. Sold things he rarely used. Stopped upgrading perfectly good electronics. Started taking walks instead of shopping when he felt stressed. Spent more weekends with friends instead of at expensive restaurants. something surprising happened. His life became smaller, but it also became lighter. Because happiness has a strange relationship with money. Money absolutely improves life. It can reduce stress, create opportunities, provide security. But after a certain point, how you spend your money matters far more than how much of it you spend. Jake and Michael earned the same salary. One built a lifestyle that looked wealthy. The other built a lifestyle that felt wealthy. From the outside, Jake seemed to have everything. From the inside, Michael had something far more valuable: time, freedom, peace of mind, the ability to make decisions without constantly checking his bank balance. That's the lifestyle most people never see, because it doesn't appear in Instagram photos. It doesn't sit in a driveway. It isn't hanging in a closet. It quietly shows up in ordinary moments. Sleeping well, taking time off without guilt, helping family when they need you, walking away from a job that no longer makes you happy. Those things don't look luxurious, but they are. Because the richest lifestyle isn't the one that gets the most attention. It's the one that gives you the most freedom. Jake eventually understood something that millions of people spend their entire lives chasing. Lifestyle isn't measured by what people think when they visit your home. It's measured by how your life feels after they leave. Same salary, completely different lifestyle, and in the end, the better life wasn't the one that looked more expensive. It was the one that felt more like his own.